I decided that every first and fifth story will be in a video themselves. So here's the fifth.
Paradise Island 4. Orana, the Challenger of Worth.
Yeah, number 0 was the first one.
The island no longer felt like it was
And then
only
there was
remembering
1,
the past.
2, 3, and
It was
4.
beginning to measure the future. After the sealing of Ares beneath its living structure, Themyscira had changed in ways even the oldest Amazons could not fully describe. The ground no longer felt entirely static. The wind seemed to adjust its direction around living intent, and the Kangas, ever-present observers of the island's rhythm, had begun to move differently when certain individuals passed through their paths, as if responding not to motion, but to significance. Themyscira. They were no longer just running, they were judging. And within this shifting balance, a single Amazon began to feel invisible pressure building around her name. Her name was Orana. Orana. Orana was not born into greatness. She was born into comparison. Among the Amazons of Themyscira, strength was not rare, but recognition was. Every warrior trained under the same sky, on the same stone, with the same discipline. Yet even in paradise, hierarchy formed naturally, not by decree but by perception. Orana was fast. Orana was skilled. Orana was relentless. But she was never the one the island seemed to look at first. And that was the wound she carried silently. In the days following the containment of Ares, the Amazons noticed a change in Orana's behavior. She trained longer. She spoke less. She watched others more carefully than before, not with admiration, but calculation. Even the Kangas reacted differently around her. Where Artemis triggered structured interest and Nubia triggered recognition, Orana triggered something subtler. Instability. Not danger. Potential disruption. The Kangas did not stop moving for her, but their patterns bent slightly away. As if avoiding a ripple they could not fully interpret. Orana noticed. Of course she did. She noticed everything, and she began to ask a question that no Amazon was supposed to ask aloud. If strength is shared equally here, why is Worth not? The challenge did not begin with violence. It began with declaration. At the central training grounds of Themyscira, beneath the watch of carved stone and distant cliffs, Orana stepped forward during a gathering of warriors. The Amazons had assembled for routine assessment drills, but Orana raised her voice before the exercises could begin. I want judgment. Silence followed. Not shock, not confusion, recognition of disruption. One elder Amazon stepped forward. Judgment for what? Orana did not hesitate. For rank. The word itself felt heavier than intended. Because rank on Themyscira was not officially enforced, but it existed in practice. Word spread quickly. Artemis watched from a distance, arms folded, expression unreadable. Nubia observed without reaction, as if evaluating the structure of the request rather than the emotion behind it. And deep within the island, the Kangas began to shift in small, almost imperceptible ways. The Great Pulse Run did not begin that day. Instead, something new formed, a hesitation in movement across the entire ecosystem. As if the island itself was deciding whether Orana's question was valid enough to answer. The challenge was accepted, not by decree, but by inevitability. Orana would be tested, not by a single opponent, but by the island's reflection of worth. The trial was named by no one, yet understood by all, the measure of motion. The Kangas gathered first, not as participants, but as the baseline. Thousands of them formed layered formations across the island, Sunback, Deep Fern, Stormstride, Skybound, each clan occupying a distinct ecological role. They did not fight, they ran. And in their running, they revealed the island's rhythm. Every step, every leap, every coordinated shift of weight formed a pattern too complex to be imitation alone. It was Themyscira's language of balance. Orana entered the trial at sunrise. She was not told the rules. There were none. Only response. If she could move through the island's living rhythm without breaking it, she would be considered aligned. If she disrupted it, the island would correct her. At first, Orana performed well. She adapted quickly, reading Kanga's movement patterns, adjusting her footwork, anticipating shifts in terrain before they occurred. She moved like a warrior trained in perfection. But the island was not a battlefield. It was a system. And systems do not reward aggression alone. They reward harmony under pressure. As she advanced deeper into the island's structured movement zones, Orana began to feel resistance that was not physical. The ground beneath her would subtly shift timing. The air would alter pressure just enough to disrupt rhythm. The Kangas around her would adjust formations in ways that removed predictable openings. It was not an attack. It was correction. And Orana did not correct herself. She forced adjustment instead. Each time she encountered resistance, she increased force. Each time timing shifted, she accelerated. Each time the island redirected flow, she attempted to overpower it. From the outside, it looked like mastery. From the island's perspective, it looked like noise. Artemis saw it first. "She's fighting the pattern," she said quietly. Nubia responded without turning her head. "She believes strength is assertion." Artemis narrowed her eyes. "It isn't." Nubia paused. "It is also listening." By mid-trial, Orana had reached the central convergence zone, where Kangas, Amazons, and island structure all overlapped. The pressure there was immense, not physically, structurally. Every movement she made now caused immediate response from the island. The Kangas shifted in tighter synchronization, the land adjusted micro-elevations beneath her steps, and even the wind seemed to anticipate her direction. She was no longer moving through the island, she was moving against its attention. Orana stopped, for the first time. Breathing heavily, she realized something she had refused to acknowledge. The island was not resisting her, it was responding to her refusal to align, and the difference mattered. Above her, the skybound Kangas descended slowly, circling once. Not threatening, observing, measuring completion state. Orana dropped into a low stance, and for the first time, she did not push forward. She waited. The island adjusted. A slight shift in wind direction. A soft repositioning of Kangas in the distance. A subtle opening in the terrain ahead. Not given, but revealed. She moved again, but differently. Not faster, not stronger, aligned. And the response was immediate. The resistance disappeared. Not because the island weakened, because she stopped breaking its rhythm. By the time Orana reached the trial's endpoint, she was no longer fighting. She was participating. The Kangas resumed full movement around her. Not avoiding her, not correcting her, but integrating her presence into their flow. She had not defeated the island. She had stopped being separate from it. When she returned to the Amazons, there was no announcement, no victory speech, no title, only recognition, not of superiority, but of recalibration. Artemis met her first. "You stopped forcing it," she said. Orana nodded slowly. "I stopped winning." Artemis studied her. "That's not the same thing." "No," Orana admitted, "it isn't." Nubia approached last. She looked at Orana for a long moment, then said simply, "You learn to move without conflict." Orana frowned slightly. "Is that better?" Nubia turned toward the horizon. "It is rarer." That night, the Kangas resumed the Great Pulse Run. But something had changed. For the first time, Orana's movement, her presence within the island, was reflected in the pattern. A new thread within the rhythm. Not dominant, not separate, integrated. And Themyscira, in its quiet ancient intelligence, recorded it. Because the island was no longer only shaping warriors, it was shaping balance. And Orana had become part of its answer to a question it had been refining since before gods were sealed beneath its ground. What is strength when it no longer needs to prove itself? Characters, places, and group species. Characters, Orana. Artemis of Bana Migdal. Artemis of Bana Migdal. Nubia. Nubia. Places, Themyscira. Central training grounds of Themyscira. Central convergence zone. Storm coastlines. Deep fern forest. Sunback plains. Group species. Kangas, alien species of Themyscira. Hopsworn clans, Amazons of Themyscira. Amazons of Themyscira.